All right. We were talking to you a little bit earlier about Nashville Super Speedway and the unique but fairly simple racetrack that Monster Truck Challenge has thrown down here. But before we get to that, we're taking it easy up here in the hospitality suites, working hard, as we always do here with the monsterblog.com. But as you can pan and look out the front windows there from this air-conditioned heaven that we have found ourselves in, you can see the racetrack that we talked a bit about a little bit earlier in our segment. The racing style, and although they don't have it striped, it'll make a little more sense as the night goes on. But the way the racetrack is laid out is what I like to refer to as Kansas City style. It's a technique that USA Motorsports used in the 90s throughout most of their stadium and arena shows. And basically the monster trucks will start heading towards turn 4 over those first two sets of cars. And then each truck will make a left-hand turn. And that's where this becomes a little more unique than a standard St. Louis style that we normally see. These trucks will be making identical turns around the two multicolored SUVs. They'll come back down the second stretch of their racetrack over two sets of two cars. They will come into the final turn down there where you see the water truck taking over the ARCA Remax Series grass area. They'll each hook another left turn around those two SUVs down there, and then they'll come full throttle back over the jump that they started over. What makes this track unique is with both trucks making left turns, it even things out, and it actually makes it a little bit easier for the fans to judge who's ahead in the race. It's a very straightforward style of racetrack compared to what we've been seeing from Monster Truck Challenge this year. It was quite a surprise for us all when we showed up here. We've seen figure eights, we've seen, in Charlotte last weekend, that was almost indescribable, the type of track they ran there. So we've seen some pretty unique stuff from the guys this year. They decided to pull out some of the stops and go with a little more of a simple racetrack. But as you can see, there's a massive no man's land between all those car jumps. We've got some big power heavy hitters here today. We got Mark Hall, we got Dan Patrick. Both of those guys relying on Hemi horsepower. They're really going to be putting it down out there. We've also got Mike Hawkins here with the equalizer. Coming off a big win last weekend in Charlotte, he's definitely going to be a tough one to beat here too. That truck has been known to run people down on the straightaways. And you know what? We've also got the King Crunch guys out of Texas here. They're not coming here to get beat. And of course, Carl Van Horn and Mopar Magic, he was actually in the finals at Eldora a few weeks ago against Jimmy Cretin and Bounty Hunter and tied for the freestyle win there. So he's going to be a threat in racing too. And as you saw while Colby was panning the track there, we've got some interesting pyramids out there. We've actually got a prison bus pyramid out there, so I don't expect to see that bus caving in hardly at all. We've also got a van pyramid. We've got a bunch of extra SUVs and cars laying around too. So we're figuring the Monster Truck Challenge guys are going to give us some pretty neat stuff to look at in freestyle as well. And you see this infield is massive here. There's plenty of room to ride a slap wheelie out really far. A lot of great grass and some asphalt to do donuts as well. So we'll be looking for some pretty big stuff from these guys later in the night. We're going to head downstairs now, reluctantly, out of our air-conditioned bliss here, and bring you some driver interviews. All right, we're down here on the track, Nashville Super Speedway. We're with Samson driver Dan Patrick, Raminator driver Mark Hall. Guys, veterans, you've raced together for a long time. We're running a style of racetrack tonight that's not too different from what USA used to do a long time ago, so it's going to be a throwback to that. You know, both trucks turning left, kind of a cool deal. And really, looking at the field, you guys are arguably two of the most hardcore racers in the field. So we'll start with you, Mark. What do you think of the track tonight?
I think it's pretty good. It's like you say, it's kind of old school, you know, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be fast. They got some good ramps here. I think the guys did a good job putting it together, so I'm looking forward to it. You know, it's going to be a good one.
All right, Dan, your thoughts on it?
Well, I kind of agree with Mark. My only deal is this bus a little close to the lane, but other than that, I think it's going to be a phenomenal course, and it's just all about going fast and controlling the speed.
All right, now what do you guys think of the turns? There's a lot of grass in the turns. Is that going to play much of a factor? You think it's going to tear up pretty quick in qualifying, and we'll get down to some good solid dirt?
Yeah, we drew number 10 in qualifying, so that's one of the things I was kind of looking at there, and I think it'd be a little slick maybe for the first guys, but you know, you get two shots at it, so I think it'll come around, it'll be all right, but yeah, I definitely think it'll be maybe a little slick there at the start, but it'll get torn out of there, and then we'll be ready to go. All
right, now that's an interesting point you brought up. You're qualifying 10th. Dan, if I'm not mistaken, you're going out first, so what do you think of that?
Oh, well, I'm not too concerned about it if they don't throw water on it. If they throw water on it, then basically my first pass will be a throwaway. And then when I come back in the second cycle, you know, there'll be, 5 laps already on the track. So, that'll actually, it will benefit me. But I think it'll benefit Mark down the road because of getting tore up. Again, it depends. You never know. If they throw water on it, it just screws the next guy up so bad.
All right, now tonight.
I'm going and getting in a water truck.
yeah. There you go. That's strategy at play right there.
There you go.
All right, absolutely. So, what do you guys think of the Monster Truck seasons or Monster Truck Challenge seasons kind of coming to an end now after the Nashville event? There's been some stuff going on. The Monster Blog's going to be getting into that a little bit more next week. But the events you guys have run thus far this season, how do you feel about them? Have you enjoyed them?
Oh, absolutely. I've had a great time, and to be honest, I'm a little sad that it's coming to an end because these guys, I know, Richie and Ryan, those guys worked their butts off, and to put on a good event and come up with unique tracks and stuff. So I feel bad for that, but those guys work hard at it, and they'll come up with something, and they'll be back. But I've had a great time racing. I'll be honest, this year it hasn't quite gone the way I was kind of hoping. I've struggled a little bit, and we've had some bad luck. We've qualified good and raced good in the first round, but for whatever reason, we just can't seem to get the finishes we need. And I don't know. So maybe that'll turn around tonight. Maybe tonight's our night. But yeah, other than that, even with that bad luck, I've had a lot of fun. So
outstanding, Dan. How do you feel about how the season's gone for you?
Well, we've been in the finals a lot, haven't pulled out the wins, but that's a little on our side. But Rich's tracks are always phenomenal, and that's what always brings it back to his tracks. They're different. There's a lot of challenges to them. We go to so many events where the track is the least concern. They just throw something out there and they want you to make something out of it. But here, when it takes them 4 days to build a track, that they're serious about trying to put on a good event for the racers and the fans.
Absolutely, and even, we see all that work going to the racetrack, and the same applies to the freestyle stuff, too. I mean, even though you guys have always been, a little more into the hardcore side of racing and stuff, you're both known for pretty solid freestyles, and even tonight we got some pretty big obstacles, but really they're well constructed. I don't think they're very unsafe obstacles, would you guys say?
Oh, no, and that's one thing with Richie, he puts buses and all that stuff out there, but they're always, always got nice ramps up to them and stuff, so you can go as big as you want, if you want to, send one up there, you can do that. If you want to be a little more conservative on certain things, you can do that too. So he always builds, I'd say overall his tracks are really, really good, from the racer's point and from the guys who kind of specialize in the freestyle part of it.
All right, so now we'll wrap up here the ups and downs you guys have both had all season. In your mind, Dan, what's kind of been the sterling moment of the season for you so far this year?
Well, we've had a lot of good races, we've had some frustrating things. We know the Eldora track, qualifying, that put us out of the race pretty much because of that. But, you have to take the high and lows. But, to me there was very few lows and it was a lot of highs. So I just wish that, for a veteran of 20 years, you always look what's going to be next year, what's going to keep us excited about, giving it what you did, 20 years ago. And to me it's the tracks, and that's what I'm going to miss about this.
Absolutely. Well, that's all from down here with Mark and Dan, and I'd like to echo their thoughts. Hopefully Rich and Ryan and the rest of those guys can pull something together good for next year. We'll talk to Rich a little bit more about that next week, but for now, we're going to leave it to these guys to carry the show this evening. Who knows? These might be the guys we see in the finals tonight. Yep. Absolutely, yeah. We need all the units shipped to Hong Kong by midnight. Absolutely. Oh, I gotta go. Yeah, that's never mind that. Yeah, we're in the Chaos limo monster truck right now. As you can see, the Monster Blog, man, we don't mess around. We are business all the time. But got a cocktail there for you, Colby, for your yeah. We've got a wet bar in here. It's fantastic. We're thinking about watching the monster truck race from up here this evening. We're working hard here. We're hanging out in the VIP tower. We're hanging out in the Chaos monster truck. What can you say? Life is good when you work with the Monster Blog here. But anyways, we're hanging out inside the Chaos monster truck here. Not sure what the future for this truck entails, but we're going to see it again tonight out there cruising around. It may not jump, it may not fly, but it's a pretty slick unit. It looks pretty cool out there messing around, so we'll get some more footage of that for you guys tonight. But I think for now, we're going to kick on the AC and just take it easy in Chaos till the show starts.